Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Ventana Wildlife Society's The Condor Chat, which occurs on the last Thursday of the month, excepting November and December due to the holidays. Those occur the week before. We've been doing this since 2020. We love connecting with you remotely and sharing with you the updates from the field and our work to restore California condors to the wild, and how sometimes it takes interesting turns and we find ourselves working on projects that maybe 30 years ago when we first started, we never would have dreamed of doing. And I think filmmaking is in that category. And today we're going to be talking about Condor Canyon, an original feature film documentary on the California condor that we created. And I'm so excited today that we have a panel of the key folks that were involved in the making of that film. So just real quickly to go over the agenda, we're going to dive right into the Condor Canyon piece. We're going to show you a little clip. We'll have some discussion with panelists. I'll, of course, introduce you to the panelists first. And then we'll have some results to show you and when and where you can watch the film on PBS and other details along those lines. I'm also going to share with you, after we wrap that up and say goodbye to our panelists, we'll dive right into a new campaign that we've started as of today, in fact, called Save the Condor Fund. And then lastly, Joe and Mike will follow up with program updates from the field. And of course, the Q&A to end the program at 5 o'clock. So if we want to move to the next slide here, let me go ahead and introduce the panelists. I'm going to just read your bios, and then if you would, Joe, go ahead and kick out of the PowerPoint so that we can see the panelists. Thank you. Well, I'm going to start with Mike Buffo. Mike is the director of photography of Condor Canyon, pronounced Buffo. His video production agency, House of 8 Media, has delivered thought-provoking video content to the Monterey Peninsula since 2013. He is a proud father of 3, a former professional athlete, actor, healer, and educator. His diverse background has brought a blend of technical skill, creative vision, and unwavering dedication to excellence to tell the story of the Big Sur condor flock. Welcome, Mike.
Thanks, Kelly. It's great to be on Condor Chat.
Anything else you want to add that I didn't include in your bio that we don't know?
I don't know. It's hard to listen to. That's so flattering. Thank you, Kelly. I don't know what else to add about myself, but it's been a really wonderful journey these past couple of years. It's great to see it all come together. It's really wonderful to see it. Finally see it on TV for everybody to see it and hear it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I would say when this idea came up in my mind, you were the first person that I contacted. And, we were just finishing up another project, Giants of Big Sur, and many of you on this chat will remember that project. And right when we were finishing that project, we had a wonderful opportunity from Doris Day and Terry Melcher Foundation, which I'll speak more about later, to create a new film. And so the first person I called was Mike. So we kicked off that project together. Anyway, let me turn to Meredith Evans, our very own on-staff photographer. Meredith is an experienced program coordinator with a background in graphic design and professional photography. With a degree in biological sciences from the University of California, Santa Barbara, Meredith is an outdoor enthusiast and advocate for habitat and wildlife conservation. As the communications coordinator for Ventana Wildlife Society, Meredith promotes the restoration of endangered species through collaboration and impactful storytelling through film, photography, and written communications. Welcome, Meredith.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to be here. Glad to be a part of this project.
Anything else you want to add? Putting you on the spot here. Never mind. It's okay.
I can answer any questions, but you pretty much said my background, and thank you. That was very nice. I did not write that, I don't think. If I did, it was years ago. So thank you.
Well, We'll get back to you in a little bit. So. All
Okay.
right. And Carlos Mora, welcome. Thank you so much for being here, Carlos. Carlos is an experienced content producer and writer, having developed many episodes for major television channels such as Animal Planet, PBS, History, Travel Channel, Viceland, Motor Trend, and most recently as an integrated producer for Masterclass, which is an online education platform. His expertise in storytelling was a key ingredient in Condor Canyon's success, and I mean that wholeheartedly. I remember, pulling together this team and trying to figure out, well, who in the world are we going to find to write this story? It's so hard to write this story. We are not great storytellers. I think we had a vision for the story, but we really needed you, and you pulled it off. So thank you so much, and welcome.
I'm so honored to have been brought on to this team. I think so much of the work had already obviously been done before I even came on board. So I just felt kind of a responsibility to try to do it all justice and just create, a great story. And luckily, these birds are incredibly fascinating and their story is incredibly fascinating. So kind of wrote itself a little bit. So thank you.
Awesome. Okay, and Catherine Cavadini, we weren't sure if you were going to be able to come, so it's kind of a surprise visit. I'm so glad you could be here today. Catherine is perhaps best known as the original voice of Blossom in Cartoon Network's movie and TV series, The Powerpuff Girls from 1998 to 2015. Is a longtime veteran of the voiceover business. She started her career in her early 20s. Her voice has been regularly featured in radio and television commercials, TV movies, TV series, animated features, interactive games, and a lot more. She's an animal lover at her core, and we're so glad that you were a part of this project, Catherine. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so thrilled to be here. I'm glad that it worked out that I could be here. And I'm glad that you found me. So
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up because when we got to this stage of the process, so after we had found Doris Day and Terry Meltzer Foundation and the funding to get it started, and then we started working with Mike and we started filming, and then we brought Meredith on, and then we found Carlos, and then he started stitching the story together, and then it was like, okay, who's going to narrate this thing? And we all talked about it and decided that we wanted to have a female voice and almost kind of, motherly or nurturing, real nurturing type voice. And so I went out on a search and I found, I think, 5 or 6 different demos, one of those being this documentary demo that you have on your website. And I shared it with the team and everybody unanimously picked you. And so I was so excited right after that I contacted your agent and I made the offer. And then it was like a day afterwards, I thought, hey, who is this person anyway? And that's when I discovered your long tenure as a Powerpuff Girl. And when I told my daughter about that you were Blossom, she was just blown away and floored and just thought that was the coolest thing ever.
oh, that's so great. Yeah, well, a lot of years I did mostly kid voices and teenage voices. That's how I was known. So, but obviously I've grown up a little bit. So, I was thrilled that I got a chance to narrate this. Plus, it was just so beautiful because I remember I asked you if you would send me the visuals so I could narrate to the movie itself, and which I think helped me so much with the emotion of it, and also just because it's so beautiful and the timing and everything. But it was so beautiful to watch as I narrated. So I was thrilled to be part of it. So thank you so much for including me.
Well, you were just perfect and exactly who we needed. And here we are. We are right at the precipice of greatness, I think. I'm so excited about this project. I remember early on, I said to the team, I said, guys, we're going to have a target. We're going to get at this thing on PBS. And it was like crickets, And of course, Carlos, he's like, yeah, I've written for them before. No big deal. But, all the rest of us, We're like, oh man, that would be awesome. That would just be huge if we could pull that off. And I'll just share a little bit more about how that came to be, and then I want to get into more of the panel. But the reason why we got this on public television is because we were lucky enough to get in the Carmel International Film Festival. And there was a wonderful gentleman there who had a connection to the Detroit PBS station, who ultimately is our representing station. And how that works is they represent Condor Canyon to all of the other independent stations that work within the PBS network. And I'll get more into the results of that here in a little bit. But I want to talk about how we made this film. I think this would be a great place to show a 1-minute clip from the Condor Canyon. I think we have a clip ready to go, don't we, Joe? Somewhere around one of the nesting pairs that we were following.
Returning to the nest, Jade is overjoyed to see her father, Amigo, and to eat a meal. Like most birds, young condors are fed directly from their parents' mouths until they've learned to fly and are able to join the flock at a carcass. Even when eating, young condors are totally dependent. In general, condors don't need to eat every day, but they need to eat at least every 2 or 3 days to maintain their weight. And when growing, this is even more crucial. To keep eating on a regular basis, condors can't afford to be picky. When they spot a dead animal, preferably a fresh one, they eat.
So that's a good place to start. I think, if we could get back to the panel view, I'd like to start with you, Carlos. I'd like for our viewers today to hear you talk a little bit about your approach to writing the story. How did you said it kind of wrote itself, but I would love to hear more about your process. How did you go about it?
Sure. I have, over the years that I've worked on writing stories, I've written a lot of stories about animals. And I think what's interesting is that, I don't know how much people really think about it, but I mean, animal lives are inherently dramatic. I mean, they're kind of everything that they deal with in some respect is a life or death situation. So, I mean, they don't have the comforts of having a nice home and, a grocery store to go buy food at, et cetera, et cetera. So, they deal with, like I said, finding food is an issue. Contests over mates or territory, and then of course a host of man-made dangers. And any one of these things could have been could have been something to really latch onto and focus on in this story. But I thought what was most interesting about condors in this case with this story is, because this is a threatened, and I'm probably using the wrong specific word I should be using, but a species that is in very, very low numbers. And maybe Kelly, you can even confirm at this point, how many wild condors, California condors, are there?
Oh boy, you put me on the spot there. Joe might even have a slide later, but
I think when we wrote it, it was around a little around 350 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and I mean, that is like less than half the number of kids in my son's graduating class. I mean, it's a very small number. And so I think the focus then very, very quickly became about these chicks. And I think that really galvanized the whole story, because every single chick in the flock is incredibly precious. And so that quickly led to kind of focusing the story mainly on Traveler and Traveler's, various trials and tribulations. Because, we obviously we went into detail, or we go into detail in this story about the fact that Traveler had tried and failed to have a viable egg for so long because of another man-made danger, DDT poisoning. And so that was just the fact that there was now an egg that we were hoping and praying throughout this story would grow and become a new member of the flock. That to me was just such a critical kind of through line for the story. And then of course all of the great other characters in the story and all of the various histories of those different birds was a great thing to weave in. So yeah.
Awesome.
Carlos, if I may, the total number of condors that we have, including the captive population, so I know that wasn't the exact question that you asked, but it's 563, but the wild global population is 366 currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, let me ask the same question, but a little bit different this time, not from the perspective of writing the story, but from the perspective of filming the story. Maybe direct that at Mike first, Mike Buffo.
So what's the question really towards filming?
Well, what was your process? You're the director of photography, and you also shot some of the a lot of it. What was your process in going about the filming of this project in particular? Was it different for this project than some of the other work that you do? Just maybe share some of that background.
Well, I felt like an extension of Ventana Wildlife Society, of your team. Being folded in on this project, it was kind of like, there were days with me and there were days with the others, the biologists, and I just kind of showed up with my camera and with Meredith, arming her with her camera. As you know, we shot Giants of Big Sur on the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, and then this production came up, and so we decided it was time for VWS to get their own camera. So we got that body, but a second version of that, the Pro version. It's like a beeping over here. And then Meredith and I just became this team for first unit for some of the bigger production days. And then where we would go out and join you and Joe and meet the other biologists for some of the milestone moments that we needed to capture, such as when we, a bird was getting released, or when we did the reenactments, and for some of the testing, we did a reenactment scene at the release site. That's a fun story. But then Meredith is the one who did all of the second unit photography on her own, and it's the day-to-day cinematographer. The flowers, the landscapes, the insects, and anything that she couldn't get, we did happen to get just a few stock clips, like the bobcat, for telling everybody our secrets. The bobcat stock.
Brought on an expert with the drone, and plus you are a drone operator yourself, and you capture just the most gorgeous aerial views. I think that's one of the reasons why it's just such a striking.
It's so hard to take any credit for that, because the Big Sur coastline deserves most of the credit. I just put the bird in the air and pointed south and pointed north at the right time of day.
Yeah, well, but from my perspective, it's like, Mike, we got to have great aerials. I mean, I don't know how we get that done, and you pull it off. So
thank you. Hey, thank you. It does take some practice to get the exposure right, shooting the right settings, and be in the right place at the right time, have the right gate codes. I think we went 5 gates to get out to the release site. Every time we went out there, 45 minutes inland from Highway 1. Quite a trek out there.
Yeah.
In the hot sun, covered in bugs.
Well, let's
I still have the gator you gave me, Kelly.
Yeah. Oh, I know. You still need to give that back to me, by the way.
Sure, I'll get right on it.
The bugs are so bad out there sometimes. If you don't cover your face, the whole time you'll just be like this, and it's hard to get any work done.
And they bite.
Yes,
Yes.
only you.
Mike, the bugs say hi, by the way.
I'm nursing some bites on my hand right now from this week at the sanctuary. Just a little, they're out, they're not always out, but when they're out, they get you.
That's a great segue to Meredith. Actually, I wanted to ask you, like, you were a professional still photographer for a long, long time, and
Yeah.
cinematography was relatively new for you, and you've just taken it by the reins and done such an amazing job. Tell me more about, that whole journey that you've been on.
Well, sure. First, it comes down to, the organization providing the tools that I need. So that goes back to you, Kelly. If we needed something to get what we, wanted for the film and other projects outside the film, you were always, finding the resources so that we could do that. So thank you very much for that. And then I had a good teacher in Mike. So Mike would take me out. He had a lot of patience with me at first. I found it quite intimidating. And we started out with settings on the camera so that we could do the slow-mo and just press a button and do some minor adjustments. But without getting too much into the weeds, it was really fun. And once I was able to pick up that, get to know the equipment, I was able to take off from there. And I don't mind bugs. I like being out in the heat. Hey, Joe, do we have those pictures of Mike at Indians? So anyway, we have been in some pretty extreme situations. Like we went to this cliff nest to film, and it's in Fort Hunter Liggett, around there, and it's a long hike in, and it was, I think, what was it, like 100 degrees? Was it triple digits, you guys? It sure felt like it. And we carried all of our equipment on our backs, and like by the end of the day, the bottoms of my feet were cooking because the ground was so hot and there's like such little shade. But we were all there in it together, so we were just joking about it and just having the best time. And then we'd be like, oh my gosh, the bird, oh! And we'd like film the bird and like take care of that. But most of the time, the birds come in and out when they want to, but the camaraderie of the team was really fun. Like we were just, laughing and having a great time in between doing what we had to do to get the footage. And the birds performed that day too, which was a minor miracle because, Joe has said in the past on other Condor chats, we're on Condor time. And so, I mean, on other projects, I've sat on a hillside in the forest getting eaten by bugs for 4 hours to catch one feeding, and then there's superstition about it, like bring someone new to the nest and you'll see a feeding. So, you never know what you're going to get when you go out there. And so we're really glad. Oh, thank you. You didn't have to show that one. But anyway, that's me. But yeah, so that's my synopsis of what we did. It was a lot of fun. Plus, I learned how to, I took the medium of portrait photography and then was able to make the leap to, wildlife videography, cinematography, whatever you'd like to call it. So it was really fun, and I'm glad I learned that new skill.
Beautifully, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you, Carlos. Appreciate it.
Well, Catherine, I want to end with you, and then I'd like to get back into the PowerPoint presentation so we can show you some results and how people can watch the film and so on. But, condors are new for you, right? It's kind of a new thing. It's not like you were a follower beforehand, but are you a little bit more of a condor lover now, you think?
Totally. My husband is a birder. So I met my husband, this is my second marriage. So we've been married 11 years now. But, ever since I met him, he's always pointed out birds to me everywhere. And that's a such and such this, So he just bought me actually a stuffed condor. We took our 1-year-old granddaughter to the zoo for the first time. So yes, and they have a condor exhibit there, but they weren't out. So I was so disappointed because I really wanted to see them live. So at some point I would love to come out and see them live, but yes, I pretty much fell in love with them, to be honest, watching the videography and just reading Carlos's words and stuff, and just how they're so interesting, the dynamics between and how they interact with each other, and how they raise their young together, and it's kind of amazing, and I think that Carlos really captured that, how I mean, you feel like they obviously love and they're young, and it's just I think that part uh of it for me was what made me fall in love with them. So maybe I'm just anthropomorphizing them or whatever.
Hey, Catherine, I have a quick question because
Yeah.
I'm amazed by narration, but your voice sounds very different from what's in the movie.
I have many
So
voices.
do you have to change the tone and everything and get in mode?
Well, yeah, if I use my regular voice, I don't sound as mature as as what Kelly was looking for. So, yeah, and I've done voices my whole life, because the Powerpuff Girls, so,
I was gonna ask that, but I didn't have the heart to do it.
not so fast, Mojo Jojo,
Oh my God, that's crazy.
so there's a lot of voices in there. So this is my natural speaking voice, I guess you would call it. But there's a lot of voices. But yeah, no, I really was happy that I got to use my big girl voice, I guess you would call it.
It was awesome. I mean, you nailed it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks.
Oh, I love that. We have a comment in the chat from Alexa Pickens. Who said, oh my gosh, I love the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh, thank you.
Something about remembering you as an inner childhood. I can't believe it's you. Well, any other parting thoughts before we get back into the PowerPoint? I just have a few more slides I want to show you, but anything we didn't cover?
We will definitely get her out there to see condors.
Definitely.
You'll have your mind expanded. We'll be blown away.
Excellent. Well, great. Let's get back into the PowerPoint. Let's have a few more things to show you. Most notably, when and where you can view the film. But if you move to the next slide, just a bunch of more people here we want to recognize. In addition to everyone we've talked about today and you've met today on our panel, I want to recognize John Weinglass, who allowed us to use his symphony, Big Sur, A Night's Sun, it's called. And he also created some original music for the project. Jules Hart, who works with Mike Buffo at House of 8 Media, did a wonderful job editing. Tim Liaban, am I pronouncing that correct?
Layaban.
I knew I was going to mess that up, but Tim did a great job with the color grading. Lauren Denemark and Aaron Weaver from Triple Threat Supervision selected the music, and I just thought they picked great choices. Russell Mayringer was our sound engineer and really kind of the anchor man at the end of the project to help get it to the finish line with Mike. And then we also licensed some footage from Save Redwoods League. I want to thank them, and also some video from Tim Huntington. The next slide. The program was funded by Doris Day and Terry Melcher Foundation, and I just really want to emphasize my huge appreciation to that foundation, because we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for them, and really appreciate the trust. I know it's kind of a crazy idea to create an original film and try to pull this off, but you believed in us and we did it, and I thank you so much. And then we also received some additional support to help with the distribution. I want to especially thank Barbara Apostolou, Catherine L., and Robert O. McMahon Fund, the Community Foundation for Monterey County, the May Foundation Trust, Orinda Garden Club, Karen and Alan Lacey, Lurline Lolly Menzies. Well, thank you all so much for making this all come together for us. And now we are right at the edge of a whole bunch of broadcasts, and really, really excited that people across the country are going to get to see this. A little bit behind the scenes before we get there, though, just kind of to show you a little bit of what it looked like behind the camera. And then just one more of those. Got to have some fun with Mike here.
Oh my God.
That's the one I was talking about. Yeah.
Hey man,
Yes, I
Don't ever
did wear
forget
that
your
because
hat.
I didn't have the gator and they were just all over my ears.
That was the best.
Oh
I
my,
think you were dying there on the
I'm
right,
melting.
like melting in the
Oh,
heat.
wait, no, no, that's my impression of a baby chick condor waiting because that's what they do all day.
Mike is also an actor.
Yeah.
No, we were filming this bird and we're waiting for something to happen. We're close up, the 600 millimeter lens, and it's just there, like
Just like us, it was
doesn't even blink.
hot.
Like, how could this not move for minutes on end? It just doesn't move. Oh,
A lot of
boredom.
not moving for sure.
Oh,
I love your support group there on the bottom left. Your fan club.
it's my backup singers.
You're
Yeah.
looking to your shoulder, making sure you're doing it right.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, next slide then. So I had a little fun with this. I found this map online, and this is the complete network of the public television network across the country, including Puerto Rico and Alaska and Hawaii. And these are just symbolic dots. This is not like the exact network range of each of these stations. So I just kind of had fun putting these red dots all over the map. It turns out so far, we have already in the first month of this 3-year arrangement with NEDA, actually, is the distributor, which is National Educational Telecommunications Association. And they're the ones providing it to public television across the country. There are about 350 or so stations. And so far, 33% of that network is already covered or carried in this first month of June. So Condor Canyon is really doing very, very well. 24 different states plus Puerto Rico are included. We have 155 airings already on the books in the month of June, and 59 of those are prime time. And so if you go to the next slide, I'll show you just a few selected. I couldn't put them all on there, of course. There's just so many. It's just really exciting because I know a lot of you are from Oregon and from Utah and Texas and other places. So we just wanted to give kind of a representative list of some of the upcoming broadcasts starting in June 2nd, Medford, Oregon, here locally on June 4th, KQED, 8 p.m. And then San Francisco and North Carolina is going to broadcast it a bunch, Salt Lake City, so on. So take a screen grab of this or whatever, or if you would like to have more information, you can reach out. You can also just check the local listings of your local public television station. And then I think here's where we're ready to break and move to the next part of our agenda. But I think this is a great opportunity to see if there's any final thoughts from our panel, and definitely take the time to thank you all for being here today. But is there anything else you would like to add?
I wanted to add something about just how difficult this has been to get the film to PBS. And Kelly and I worked so hard on this, and I think seeing this is great, but I wanted to show you something else that might be fun. You might have to spotlight me because not everybody will see it if I just change my personal view here. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So I want to show you something. So we had to create all of these elements just for PBS so that we could package it in the way. So this is called packaging. A 30-second opener, funding credit. These are called funding pods, and production credits. And these are kind of the length we had to get. And all this had to be like meticulously like exact. So exact because it had to pass QC, quality control. And we did this. It took us weeks. And when we finally submitted it, we didn't hear anything for the longest time. We thought, oh man, we don't know what's going on. And they gave us back, and I thought it was done. I mean, we went through it. Kelly and I got so sick of watching this back and forth, watching review. We got back 100 notes. It just never ended. There was like so many different things. I can't scroll right now. I guess, but actually I can scroll just for a second.
But Mike, you said it was the best feedback you've ever received.
It was. I mean, they found like black flashing frames that are just one frame from when the film gets cut and pasted. Like a lot of clips get cut and pasted into a new timeline. Sometimes the interpolation of that can create like a black frame. And I thought I fixed them all. There were like little tiny things like you'd never notice, like a black frame at the very top, like 1 pixel length width at the top of the frame that it's black. They were like, they would notice that, make a little note of that.
Hey, it was good for you, man. It was good. It's good.
So
good for us, right?
This get to tell. I just wanted your whole community to know like what we went through, what Kelly and I did together to get this out there, and we passed QC. We uploaded it like 7 times. This film, and it was between 20 and 40 gigabytes every time we made a delivery. And it took us about 7 or 10 times to finally get it passed and delivered.
But well, Mike, imagine how clean your next production is going to be. It's just going to be spotless. There's going to be no questions next time.
That's the whole film.
I got to figure out how to do that, Mike. You got all this cool like stuff. You're cut out in the scene.
It's just every day is learning. You know, I had to just learn how to do this. ChatGPT with my best friend, figuring out how to deliver surround sound in drop frame format. I'm a storyteller. I don't know what drop frame means. Does anybody know what drop frame means?
Negative.
So it's a very specific format that's a carryover that they need. And then, they need a .mxf file, and they need just like the intensity around the details was a learning curve for us. But, we had to do that.
It's cool to see it all pay off, though, because
it is.
My next project through that looked rough.
You can take me off spotlight now, Joe. Thanks.
I'll leave you on, Mike. You were rolling there, buddy.
Oh yeah. I don't want to say too much.
I'll just end on one final note, and this is pretty cool. I was thinking about the significance of this project, and it occurred to me there have only been 4 different full-length, roughly hour-long Condor documentaries ever made. 2 of them we made. And one of the third one was made in 2013 by a guy named Jeff McLaughlin, and he self-distributed his program. The first one and the only one on public television before Condor Canyon, so we're the second, was in 1986, and Robert Redford narrated it. So we're walking in some pretty big footsteps here, and I think it's pretty incredible that we pulled this off.
Catherine was better than Robert. I think she put him to shame.
I agree. Catherine, you nailed it.
I worked with Robert Redford several times. As he was a director on a lot of films, and I got a chance to work with them, and he's so cool to work with anyway. But we realized that we both had worked at, he worked at Disneyland and I had worked at Knott's Berry Farm. Anyway, but that's awesome. He's fantastic.
Yeah. He's great.
So I guess
so are you.
Walking in good footsteps for sure.
It's really worth a watch, actually. There's a link, there's an archive link available. Maybe before we end this chat, we'll put it in the chat here so you can watch that on your own time. But I was starting to watch it last night. It was really cool. There was a quote Robert Redford said, and part of the narration that basically said, "How many more species do we have to lose before our own fortress is breached and we are on the endangered species list?" And I was like, wow, that's awesome. So definitely check out that film. That one's just simply called Condor. It was produced in 1986. You could find it online somewhere. But definitely come check out Condor Canyon in your community. If you don't want to wait, you can also buy a copy. We're selling on Blu-ray, DVD, and USB drive. We're trying to just get it out there as far and wide as possible. So thank you so much for listening to this, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you like to watch the film, and I really hope that you share it with others too. Well, let me thank everybody on the panel. Thank you again, Carlos, Meredith, and Mike, and Catherine. It's really, really just wonderful to see you again. I do hope we work together again. But at this rate, it might be another 40 some years before the next time public television gets around to doing it. But no, I don't know. It's just pretty cool what we pulled off.
Agree.
Thank you guys so much. It's so important to get the message out there about what the Condor story.
I thank you to the Condor fans out there. We're going to watch this movie and share it. I hope that it sparks your care for them, for these birds, and that this will help, more people in your lives. Make this really easy to just tell people why you love Condor so much. Then you can just share this movie with them, and then their fans can grow. Thank you so much.
And throw a watch party if you see it coming on in your neighborhood. Invite some friends over. I'm going to do one in my house. I'm going to have my kids bring over their friends, and we're going to do one. But
it's a very moving film. A lot of
is.
the audience were in tears both times when we showed it. So I hope it moves you as well.
Hey, Kelly, I noticed that you can adopt a condor, right? Redwood Queen was one that I saw, but can you adopt any of them, or, so that the money goes towards the conservation, right, of them?
Yeah. Thanks for asking about that. So they're symbolic adoptions, so they're not, exclusive. And we pick a certain set of birds so that we have photographs and things like that go along with the adoptions. But there's quite a few birds to choose from. And it all goes towards supporting the conservation effort. So it's really a popular way to go. People are getting those adoptions left and right. So thanks for asking about that, Catherine.
I have the list right here if you'd like me to read it, Kelly, or they can also look it up online.
I think we should move on. We got to get to the update.
Absolutely.
I'm sure folks are curious about what's going on and what's the latest nesting and all the usual updates that we hear from Joe. So I'll go ahead and sign off and turn it over to Joe. You are all welcome to stay. Whatever you like to do. The panel, that is. Viewers, please stick around.
Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, and thanks, everybody. I'm going to give a little bit more brief update this round. See you, Mike. We don't have the field crew with us this month, but they'll be back next month. So I'm going to fill in and do my darndest to update you all. They did update some of the slides for me, and we got all the numbers updated. It's been a really busy month. May is always busy because we're doing our fire prep and getting ready for the fire season. And on that note, I got an opener slide here. Oh, Kelly, did you want to talk about this before I get going? Oh, you're on mute.
Of course. I completely forgot. There's just so much been going on. We're so excited about this opportunity for Condor Canyon to help us reach out and generate new support and new donors. It's absolutely critical now. I've always refrained from saying that because it always sounds like people, make that claim all the time, and then when you really mean it, it's sort of like crying wolf. And I've always kind of shied away from that. This year is a little different. This is a little scary because of all the changes that we're seeing at the federal level. Well, thankfully, the Condor program is mostly supported by private support. But we know by the end of this year, the federal support we've been getting will not renew. And it expires in December 2025. Now, what we are focusing on is the work. We know that the recovery actions that we do matter. They are the difference. There's no better nonprofit positioned in the state of California to take on this work. We are leading the non-lead outreach. We're seeing great success with nest monitoring. We're releasing captive bred condors to the wild every year, ongoing medical treatments, avian influenza vaccinations, and so on. All the work that we're doing is absolutely critical to get to that point where condors can become self-sustaining, and we're getting there. We're on the right track for these birds to becoming self-sustaining, but we're not quite there yet, mostly because of the excessive lead poisoning rate, which the film Condor Canyon will, you'll see highlights that point. It was one of the main reasons we wanted to make that film. But, right now we're in a little bit of a, I don't want to call it a crisis, but it's going to be tricky to maintain at the same level of service, and we know that if we go backwards, that could have an impact on condors. Every constituent we reach out to provide free non-lead ammunition to, or every condor we release, every bird that we treat, it all matters. And if we're not doing it, it could be devastating to these birds. And I just don't want to go backwards. It's so important that we stay forward. So we put together this campaign called Save the Condor Fund. We don't expect our private individuals to fill the full federal gap. That's unrealistic. But if you could give just 25% more, and if we could find 150 new donors, we feel confident that through other corporate and foundation support, we could fill this gap. So we put this campaign together, and I wanted to announce it. It's fresh on the website as of today. Please consider it as you think about your charitable giving this year. And that's all I'll say about it for now. But thank you. Thank you very much for listening.
Thanks, Kelly. Yeah, I want to make sure we got through that slide. All right, the Condor update. How are the birds doing? We had an exciting month, as I was mentioning. May is always busy. It's a month where we round up some of the birds. As Kelly mentioned, we're trying to get in front of highly pathogenic avian flu, influenza, and to do that, we have to vaccinate all the birds. And so we've been busy. Right now, Darren is up in the blind up at the Condor release pen. I think he's trapped 7 birds so far today. So pretty exciting. We're getting a lot of help from the zoos, the veterinarian. We need veterinarians there to administer vaccines. So it's one of those, it takes a village kind of efforts. And of course you need the birds to cooperate. So thankfully the birds have been cooperating, and they've also been cooperating for photography for Meredith. She's been taking these amazing photos. Here's a nice one of 868, pretty amazing shot. And I love this. You can really see the white underwing coverts really well. When people say, how do I know I saw a condor? That's a really telltale sign. They have these white triangles under their wings, and you can see them flying over. And of course, the wing tag is pretty apparent there, which is attached to a transmitter, which that's how we track the birds around. And we were busy doing our fire clearance. May is the last month we have before we get into fire season to knock down the grass and the weeds and protect all our structures up there. We've learned firsthand what can happen when a wildfire rips through, and it can destroy everything. And even, times it can actually take out the condors too. So yeah, big kudos to the crew this month. Again, we have a big team. A lot of them not here. They'll be back next month. But our condor biologist, Darren Gross, Kara Fadden, and Danae Mouton, and our awesome condor intern, Rachel Rigera. We have a new CSUMB student researcher, Caitlin Tunick, who's been coming out in the field with us. She's been awesome. Of course, we still have Evan helping us with GIS and producing maps. We'll get probably a map next month, maybe. And then, of course, we have Tim Huntington, super duper volunteer, and our database designer. And of course, we have our vet support with Dr. Amy Wells. And up there at the top, we have Mike and Derek doing the non-lead outreach. Those guys have been really, really busy, really, really important work, getting in front of this lead issue, getting to the point source and getting folks to start using the non-lead ammo. So big team. And of course, we have a huge group of volunteers that are helping us with tracking and monitoring the birds via our webcams and stuff like that. So you know who you are, and I give you a big shout out. But yeah, a couple photos on the right here of the sometimes you got to do something like Kelly said, we got to wear different hats at the nonprofit, and sometimes you got to strap on a weeder and go for it. The crew were all out there on a hot day, knocking down that grass, which I think was about 6 feet tall. So it's amazing. Condor population in Central California is doing really well. We're at 110 birds. We did have one death this last month. Pinnacle's Condor 626. She was nesting on the coast with one of our coastal condors. A lot of folks know Ninja 729, and her necropsy is pending. We did get the results for Pinnacle's bird 970, who was nesting with Beak Boy 168. That was lead poisoning. And of course, 1099, the first bird we lost earlier this year, was also lead poisoning. And if you look back at 2024, you see lead poisoning. It's still our number one threat to the species. So back to what we were talking about before, the non-lead outreach is really, really important that we get non-lead ammo out there in the hands of folks out there hunting varmints, pigs, deer. Just make sure they're using the non-lead ammo. We do have some birds missing in the wild right now. 236, 729 Ninja, who I just mentioned, 800, 1079, and 1144. We have a condor of concern, 1011 right now. It's not looking too good. We're suspect that bird is dead, actually. So we're in the process of trying to find it. We have a captive condor right now, 1003. We've been given updates in past condor chats. That bird is at Oakland Zoo for lead poisoning, and really good news there. We just got an update from Dr. Andrea Goodnight up at the zoo. He is completing treatment. They've been able to get all the fragments out of his GI tract, out of his digestive system. So he's lead free, and his lead is dropping really fast, and he's eating a lot and putting on a ton of weight. So that's a really good happy ending for 1003. So he dodged a bullet, no pun intended there, or pun intended, I guess. Yeah, he dodged a bullet there, and he's going to be able to, hopefully by next week, we'll have him back out in the wild. So big thank you to Oakland Zoo and all their staff and resources they put into helping this bird. Again, we really lean on our partners when, like Oakland Zoo, when we have sick birds come in and out of the wild. And of course, in memory of 626, she had been on the coast the last 5 years, originally released at Pinnacles, but we always talk about the Pinnacles and Big Sur birds, but it's just based on where they're released. And also we have San Simeon now, but the birds settle where they settle, and they're one flock. And she decided to settle on the coast with 729. They nested this last year, and actually fledged a chick in the wild, which we just caught that bird in the last month, and we're able to put a tag on it. So I'll have an update on nesting here pretty quick. But it's always a heartbreaker to lose these birds just hitting their prime. 626 and 729 were still very young in terms of condor lifespan. They were just at the front end, kind of like a newlywed couple almost. And so it's always hard to lose them when they should be living much, much longer. These birds should be living 40, 50 years easy in the wild. And a lot of these birds aren't even making it to, 15 years old. So, and again, we'll wait for her necropsy to come back. But yeah, we do suspect it might be lead related, but it's unofficial until we get the result back from Fish and Wildlife Service. But yeah, our thoughts, and got a lot of great memories for 626, and she lives on through the flock. Her legacy will carry on through her chick and her offspring, and yeah, we'll miss her. So the nesting, we got a lot going on here. Thank you to the crew for updating this, because there's a lot of nest to monitor, which is a good problem to have, right? We're seeing a lot of nesting. Last year, of course, was our record-breaking year. We had 9 chicks fledged to the wild. Right now, we're at 4. We have 2 chicks that have that have hatched so far. We've had 4 hatch so far in 2025, and we have 2 more that should be hatching soon over at Pinnacle. So we did the 2 that are going on the coast, 219 and 538 up there in green, the top line. Their chick hatched in early April, stud book 1371. So the stud book numbers keep getting higher and higher. Pretty wild to see that we're up in the 1300s. And down the lower line there, 574 and 1006, we expect that we're pretty sure they're chick hatched on early April, and that's 1372. So exciting. We got two chicks on the coast, and then inland at Pinnacles, you see the two green lines there, 931 and 868. They're chick hatched in late April, 1373. And then, of course, 569, 589, they're chick hatched on early May. We have stud book 1358. So we have four chicks that are now going to potentially become part of the flock. They won't officially be counted as part of the free flying population until they're actually free flying. They're still young and in the nest. They will not fledge until this fall. So we're going to be monitoring these birds really closely up until that point. But they fledge at 6 months in age, almost on the dime, almost 180 days, give or take 5 or 6 days. It's pretty wild. They tend to leave the nest and they'll be with mom and dad for that next year, almost, at least 6 months after they leave the nest, up to a year. And so that's a lot of the monitoring Kelly was mentioning back. Our nest monitoring is pretty much year round because by the time these chicks fledge, the next birds start to nest. So it's kind of a revolving circuit. So it involves a lot of monitoring. And again, that data is really important. Who survives, who doesn't, in terms of hatch success and nesting success is really important to gauge the health of a population. We do have two nests, 340, 889, and 913, and 330 and 317. They're getting ready to hatch, waiting to hear from Pinnacles biologist on whether 340s and 889, 913s chick hatched just a few days ago. And then the late nesting pair this year, one of our oldest pairs, 330 and 317, that chick is due to hatch in basically mid-June, which is pretty late for condors. We've had them hatch as late as July, but that's getting pretty late. So yeah, we have potential this year for 6 chicks, and it's not 9 from last year, but that's still really, really good. Anything above 5 we're looking really good. So this is more of an average year. We think last year was kind of just one of those. We're going to get one of those I wish we had them every year, but maybe next year we'll get another big bump year like that. Get 8 or 9 chicks out. But yeah, pretty incredible year if we can get all 6 out to fledge. So fingers crossed there.
Joe, any idea why these 4 failed? Do you know the reason? Just failed to hatch, or just some predation, or just something you weren't able to detect during the monitoring?
Yeah, it's based on the pair. Some of them were near late egg stage. We think it was egg failure, but yeah, a majority of them we do not know why they failed. A lot of these nests are really remote. Like 190, 650, they nest in a redwood that we can't even see into. We know they nest inside the cavity at the core of the tree, but we cannot actually physically see inside there. And 168, same case in 970. And unfortunately, that one most likely failed because 970 died of lead poisoning, and 168 was left probably with incubation duties by himself, and one bird cannot incubate an egg. They eventually have to leave the egg and go eat. And so it's a sad situation that one likely failed due to lead poisoning of the female, lead poisoning death of the female. And that's happened in the past. And again, it's an unfortunate result, ripple effect of the lead poisoning. Not only did it kill 970, but it ended up, her nest ended up failing as a result. So yeah, that's always unfortunate. And then 646, 892, we know that egg failed. We actually had pretty good observations on that nest. We know it failed sometime in the egg stage from an unknown reason. We didn't actually see anything suspicious like a raven or something trying to eat the egg. And they can fail for different reasons. That's a young pair. That's a young male. That's one of his first nesting attempts. So everyone knows 646. Kodama used to nest with Amigo 204, who we lost in 2024 to lead poisoning. So she's starting with a new younger male who's inexperienced, and that's pretty normal. On their first egg nest attempt, they might fail or get not really be totally in tune. So we're hoping that those two will nest again next year. We're hoping they were going to recycle this year and have another egg, but that didn't happen. So we're geared up for next year. We're going to try to have a cam on that nest. We're pretty excited about that, and so we'll have really good means to monitor it. And then for the Pinnacles nest, I believe that one also failed egg stage from an unknown reason. Don't quote me on that one, but yeah, so that's there. But yeah, good question, Mike. Thanks. Yeah, so trapping and handling been really busy in May. We've trapped 33 of the 110 condors, so that's a pretty darn good haul, including 3 untagged condors. And just today, Darren added that. That's now 4. He caught an untagged bird today, and we'll put get radio tag and wing tags on that bird next week. So yeah, things are going really well, and HPAI as well. We now have fully vaccinated. Similar to COVID, you got the COVID vaccine. You got to get the initial shot and then the booster to be fully vaccinated. Same with condors with this for this avian flu vaccine. So for fully vaccinated and protected, 62% of the flock, and partially at least one, 86%. So we're getting really close. The challenge we have is we have these untagged birds coming out, and then we just have birds that are really tough to capture. And then we also have the birds now that have been vaccinated twice are actually, after a year, need to be boosted. So we actually have some of these birds. So this would be an ongoing challenge. But yeah, we're trying to hit that goal of at least getting everybody fully vaccinated. And we're hoping by next fall we should be pretty darn close. And after this trap up we're going to do next week, we should that all those numbers will bump up. And again, none of this is possible without the help of Dr. Amy Wells, the Oakland Zoo vets, Dr. Alex Herman, Dr. Goodnight, and Dr. Lauren Pudenz. They've just been going above and beyond to help us out. Because you not only vaccinate them, you can see the photo up there on the top right. We have to do cloacal and oral swabs of the saliva to see if we can detect HPAI. So there's all these different surveillance means of surveilling the HPAI that we're doing, and it's a huge help to have them, because when we handle, we're drawing blood and doing we're focused on lead. So it's nice to have the vets there to support us, and that vet support is key, especially now with HPAI. So yeah, big shout out to those guys. And then I just have a lot of some really cool photos. Photos. Meredith was in the zone this last month. She's been taking some amazing photos of the crew in action. And again, it's a big shout out to the crew for just going above and beyond and doing such a great job with these birds. They're pros. I've been doing this a long time, but it's great watching these guys. They're just killing it all fronts. Just really great to watch. And this is a great shot. Photo on the left is a shot from Meredith, Condor 1317 with its new tag. And it's always funny because this is a wild-fledged bird, and when we catch them, they're untagged, and then when they leave us, they're tagged. And when they first get that tag on, it's pretty funny. Tim captured it. They're kind of like, "What did you put on my wing? What is this thing?" And, he's checking out 1317's checking out the new tag. And just another reminder, every time we catch an untag, we send in a blood sample, and that will be scanned for DNA to confirm parentage, but it also will let us know what the gender of the bird is. And we've been tricked by some of the parentage. Sometimes we'll get it'll say the female, but then it'll say, "Oh, another male actually is the father." And so there's always been we always like to confirm these untags, because there's definitely some stuff going on behind the scenes with the condors. They're not as loyal as we once thought, but pretty cool to see when you see a bird get its new tag on. And yeah, this 1317 is checking it all out here. But
Yeah, like Carlos said, the animals inherently have drama. I think condors especially.
oh yeah, it's a social hierarchy, as you know, it's there's a pecking order, and yeah, there's definitely a lot of drama and who gets to pair with who, and some other amazing shots. I love the one center and the one on the left of that's what a condor looks like when it comes right out of the bath, and kind of like when you see a cat get wet. They look a lot skinnier than they do when they're all fluffed out with their feathers. Uh, but yeah, beautiful shot at 1238 right there in the center. That's a wild fledged bird. Um, Now coming of age, starting to turn, starting to show some color on the neck, getting a little bit of pink on the neck. Start the eyes starting to get a little redder. And then of course on the right there, you've got the beautiful adults, 550 and 652, who we're excited to nest next year, and we will most likely have a cam on their nest too. So hopefully they go back to the same spot. And yeah, we're excited for next year. We're probably gonna have a couple nest cams going. So if all works out. And yeah, just an exciting month, and we'll have a much more detailed update next month for everyone. Again, we'll have the crew in here, and we'll get into the weeds, so to speak, and on some of this. But it was great to really we're all excited about Condor Canyon, and just the to get everyone excited about condors, and just to expose some of the challenges these birds have, that we see out in the field every day. So I think it's one of the rare times we've been able to translate, get that what we see on the front lines out onto a mass audience. It was super challenging, but obviously an awesome feat to pull it off. So I hope everyone enjoys it as much as I did. It was pretty darn cool. And now to questions, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. A little bit over time, so let's just clean up the two questions that we have in our question and answer section. A question that came up during the film portion was from Jack asking about drones. We use drones for excellent film footage, but have we seen any interference with drones and condor nests? Joe, have you used drones at all to monitor condors yourself?
Yeah, we limit it quite a bit. It depends on where we're flying. There's definitely restrictions along the coastline for very good reason. And obviously just not only disturbing condors, but other birds and other wildlife. It's very limited use. If we're going to use them, and if we're going to go to state parks has different rules as well. Forest Service lands have different rules. So we're always very cognizant. And typically we do not fly them near nests. We'll keep, the drones have such a huge zoom lens on them. Like even the shots in Condor Canyon, we were so far away. And we did not get, within, we were pretty far up, probably, I would say a quarter mile away from those nests. And yeah, and that's why I was there monitoring really close, like while Mike was flying, and he was really he was just proceeding really slowly. The precision of those drones is amazing. I mean, they can just, he's like 5 feet and he goes up 5 feet. I'd be like, okay, you can go a little more, and he'd go a little more. So we were constantly,
Yeah, he had me on a short leash
yeah, because this
and a
drone,
long lens.
I want to go a little closer. I'm like, no, Mike, no. No, but in general, we've used the drones outside of filming too. We've just used the drones to check and verify eggs. If it's an area, every case, it's a case by case thing, and we will reach out to U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, of course, and make sure we're we're staying within any guidelines. But it's limited just because of where the condors nest. Everywhere is so different in terms of the restrictions, but they are great tools. And obviously, if you have a good operator and someone that's working closely with the biologist, it's pretty darn safe.
Yeah, it's certainly a concern with some species. I know Monterey Audubon Society is studying the effect of drones on black oyster catchers on the coast. And these are more drones being operated by recreational users, and certainly professional users, like for this film, really are conscientious in how they go about using them. And so we appreciate
Yeah, a
having
lot of
the
the
ability to get that footage in
recreation
there.
users might, yeah, that's a good point. Like a lot of even the folks that film commercials along the Big Sur coast, they're all professional. They're FAA licensed and they know all the rules. They always check in with us before they fly anywhere. So yeah, there's big, yeah, the issues have been, yeah, with the people that are just recreational flying and not knowing the exact rules and stuff.
And then I'll throw just one last question to Kelly, and then I'll sign off and let Joe say some final words. But just a clarification question on the federal funding issue. I think we had a $400,000 target in our campaign. Is that about the amount of the loss that we expect next year, or is there another amount that we can share?
Yes, that's exactly right. $410,000 is the annual amount of federal funding that we will no longer enjoy starting in January. So that's why we set a goal of raising that amount of money by October. So it gives us enough time to plan ahead and keep the service going at the same level.
Very good. Joe, I'll let you introduce our next Condor chat. Save the date, I think June 26th. Is that right?
There you go. Right on cue, buddy.
All right.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Yeah, we went over a little bit, but it was worth it to talk about Condor Canyon. And yeah, just thanks everyone for joining. Definitely look at your local listings. Yeah, maybe Kelly, you can kind of remind everybody where to check it out.
Well, we already showed a list of upcoming airings, but I think most people here on this chat would be interested in next Wednesday, which is June 4th on KQED at 8 p.m. But yeah, check your local listings, buy a copy. Lots of ways to watch it, and I do hope you get to do that soon enough. While we still have Mike Buffo and Carlos, I think still join us. Just thank you both for coming today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Meredith.
So
Get Meredith on these all the time.
Oh yeah, good to see Meredith on here.
Thanks, everybody.
I smell a sequel. Maybe we'll do the Condor Canyon sequel.
You know, it might have to be a little more scandalous. So I keep hearing all these stories about unknown parentage and stuff. Maybe
Right? The drama.
That's a
soap
soap opera
opera
if I've ever seen one right there.
And I'd like to see the gag reel on the Blu-ray edition in the special features section next time.
Yeah, I know. I apologize, Mike. I didn't get around to that. It's a great idea, though.
There is a cool clip of a guy making the wing sounds, the wing flap sounds that I saw in the making of.
That was Russell Mayringer. Yeah, it was so cool. We asked him to create Foleys, which are sound effects to imitate
Mike's
what you're
got it
saying.
right here.
Here,
Oh, yeah, check it
spotlight
out.
me.
Yes. We asked Russell to create the sound of condor wing flaps because we didn't have the camera close enough to capture it well enough. So what does he do? He busts out an umbrella.
It sounds perfect. I mean, he nailed it.
Wow.
Yeah, that was fun.
I know I never knew a lot of this behind the scenes stuff. It was really cool because obviously we can't get a mic up there on that cliff, so it's pretty cool. It brings it home though. It's definitely really cool. I can't wait for everyone to see it. It's going to be
So
a lot of fun.
You can take me off spotlight. Thanks.
And someone is asking where to buy it and the cost. So I'll just end with that. It's $20 and you can get it in our store on our website, ventanaws.org. And you have your choice, either Blu-ray, DVD, or USB.
There's our website.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you
Thank
next
you.
time, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.